understand just why you wanna keep me guessing.
Hi BookTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to share with you guys my February wrap-up. It's only the 2nd, so I'm a little bit on track. I'm very excited for myself. Also, my husband is not here right now, and so I can film. I have been very bad at uploading videos, and I do want to apologize for that, but seriously, like, my husband has been coming home early for the last 2 weeks because he runs out of things to do at work, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna come home early. I'm like, great, then I can't film anything because, of course, you guys have seen in past videos where I either have to put his stuff in the bloopers or delete him completely because he's always farting or making silly noises. Yes, my husband is too. But he's not always obnoxious. The reason why I got with my husband when I was 16 was because he was funny, and I find that very sexy. Being funny is very sexy. Yes, sometimes it's fart jokes, sometimes it's, you know, other good humor. But I don't know if you guys all want to hear that as well, so I try to take those out of the video. Anyway, let's get started. In the month of February, I read a total of 7 books. Now, I started a bunch of books as well, story of my life, and here are all of the books. I will definitely go over them all because this is a review video. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Okay, so let's just start with the top book. Normally I try to do the first book that I finished in the month and then go that way, but I think I'm just gonna go with the smallest book, not in length, just in size. And that's Cujo. This is the last book I finished in wow, why did I think December? In February. Losing it. I picked this book up in high school, and everything that I remember from this book, I remember from the movie, and the movie I only barely watched when I was little, so I didn't remember anything from this book. I was surprised at how little I remembered. And of course, with all of my reviews, there will be Goodreads links down below. Please go check out my written review because it's always better than the ones that I speak of. So in this book we have 2 separate families that are really prominent in the storyline. We have the Trentons, and then we have the Cambers. Now, maybe for continuity's sake I should keep the book over here. Okay, so the Trentons have moved north to Maine. I believe that they started off in New York, and the wife, Donna, used to be a teacher, I'm sure. It doesn't really matter. I'm just giving you guys, painting a picture here. So we have a husband and a wife and a little son. Tad is 4. Now, Vic is the husband, and he is in advertising. They have lost their huge campaign that they were working on, and so they've had to move from New York to Maine, and one of their top-selling clients was a cereal company, and so that cereal company went with them. So they still had their #1 client, but the company itself, like this larger company that they worked for, had closed down. It, again, doesn't matter, just painting a picture. Vic works in advertisement. So the 3 of them moved to Maine, and they're living their lives. Vic's still working hard, you know, so many days a week, and Donna's a homebody. Because she's not teaching anymore and she's got Tad, who's 4, she's now a stay-at-home mom, and she hates it. Now, I have experience in being a stay-at-home mom and also hating it. Raising children can be very difficult depending on your children. If you have very mild-tempered kids who love being outside and playing quietly with their toys, and you don't have to be like super interactive with them, because I know, for example, my friend used to sit down and play with her kids for hours and hours on end. She thought it was her job to entertain them, and that's, to me, a bad idea, because then they always think that you're supposed to entertain them instead of them learning how to entertain themselves. That's important. So, of course, I would take my children to the park a lot for so many hours a day. I would take them walking around the neighborhood and so forth. And I would also play little board games with them. We would do little bits of learning with them. And so, but sometimes, you know, in hours of where I needed to do laundry or wash dishes, they knew how to play quietly by themselves. And so when you have those kinds of kids that are very well-mannered, being a stay-at-home mom is extremely boring. And Donna is extremely bored. Not only that, but she is thinking about the future. Like, oh no, what's going to happen now? Dad's going to start growing up. He's going to go to school. And he's no longer going to be needing me full time. What am I going to do then? So every woman and every man grow differently, as in, you know, they take aging differently. Some freak out because they're getting older. Some don't. Yesterday, now I know I posted this on Instagram last year, maybe even the year before. I found a gray hair a few years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, my first gray hair. I was so excited. And it was like in my bang, and I took a picture, and I was pretty sure it was a gray hair, but my hair is so thin that it fell out and it never grew back. And so I figured, oh, well, maybe it was a blonde. Yesterday, I found truly a real gray hair, and it's like somewhere around here. It was just one, and it was about this long. So it's been growing for a while. I could not stop smiling. I was so excited for my gray hair. And I had my friend feel it, and it's not coarse. It's fine, just like the rest of my hair. It's just now gray. So I'm thinking, oh, how many beautiful colors can I have in my hair once all of my hair is gray? I'm going to be so excited, because then I don't ever want to bleach my hair, because that's damaging, and my hair is fine, so I don't want to ruin the hair that I already have. But when it's white, I'll be able to, like, you know, dye it whatever colors I want. It's very exciting. But yeah, some people take aging differently, and I don't mind getting older, but Donna does. And so her eyes start to wander. Now, in King's books, we always have a lot of backstory to all of his characters. All of his books are character-based books. And then you have the plot of, like, monsters or serial killers or paranormal or aliens or vampires, whatever. In this book is the same thing. We have this family drama going on in the background, and then we have Cujo. So Donna starts having an affair. Vic finds out, and they're on the fence of what's going to happen now. Do they try to work it out? Does Donna want to leave? What should they do? But at the same time, Vic's trying to save his job because the cereal company has had a big no-no happen, and they've had to pull all their cereals because of some red dye that's it hasn't made any of the kids sick, and there's been no deaths and no poisonings, but it was a huge scare to the population, to, you know, the United States, and all of the children that ate the cereal, because they were like pooping red, and the parents were thinking that they were internally bleeding, and that's not the case. So at the same time of Vic trying to figure out how to save his job, he has to deal with Donna being a biatch and cheating on him because she's scared to get old. Now, I absolutely hate cheating in all senses. Like, I don't want to watch it on TV. I don't think it should be romanticized. I don't want to read about it in books. And so when I found out that Donna was cheating on her husband, not because he was beating her or, I mean, there's no real good excuse for cheating, but on the same time, there might be, you know what I mean? Like, I could understand or empathize more if Vic was already a serial cheater on her as well, or was extremely cold and not loving whatsoever, or, you know, all of these things. I could understand why she did it, even though I don't agree with it. But her saying, I'm getting old and I want to know that I'm still desirable, that's messed up. And so I hated Donna the entire book. I'm like, I don't care if you die. I don't care what happens to you. You're stupid. Let's move on. So every single time Donna came into the book, I got very angry. I didn't want to hear anything about her. And I felt so bad for Vic because he's bawling his eyes out. He's like, how could you do this to me? And she's just like, I don't know. It was fun. It's like, oh my God, don't give me the details. I don't want to know the details. Why does anybody ever think that they want details? I don't know where, I don't want to know where you did it, why you did it, how you did it. Don't tell me that. Just tell me you're not doing it anymore, that you won't do it anymore. All right, so we have that. Then we have Tad, again, 4. He's in daycare or preschool. And he believes that there's a monster in his closet. Now, Vic is trying to be a good father, and he writes these monster words on a piece of paper and tacks them to the wall. So that way, every night, he can say the words, and then when he's not there, Tad can also say the words, or the mom can read them to Tad. And then the monster in the closet won't bother him anymore. So there's that family. Then we have the Cambers. Now, the Cambers are, if you want to call them white trash, if you want to just call them on the poorer side, again, something I can relate to. I grew up extremely poor and have had to seriously, I've had times where we were just absolutely starving. We were going off of like $70 a week for food, and I would have to figure out how to do stuff and for the children to eat and so forth. So I understand what it's like to be poor. Or in college, we just lived off of rice and top ramen. I mean, that's not good for you. You know what I mean? So I get it. So I felt bad for the Cambers. The wife doesn't have a job, and in all of King's books, like in the older ones, like in the 60s and 70s, there was more housewives just hanging out. Like, she could technically get a job, but she doesn't have one. Not right now. And her husband, Joe, is the local handyman mechanic. He fixes whatever needs to be fixed. A lot of the times, because this is rural Maine, he has the bartering system. So he will say, fix something for free as long as you're giving him a discount on whatever goods that you have. And I really like that. I don't mind doing something for you, like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kinds of thing. So Joe makes all the money. Chastity has to deal with his aggressive behavior because he's loving sometimes, but most of the time he's not. And she loves him and finds him still attractive, but at the same time she doesn't like the fact that he's drinking all the time and that he hangs out with the wrong crowd, and he's not a good man sometimes. Or most of the time. 75% of the time, she doesn't like her husband. And then we have Brett, who is 10, who's taking after his father. And Chastity, which is the wife, doesn't want her son to only experience that kind of lifestyle. She wants him to also experience, you know, school lifestyle, where you don't have to only be a hands-on kind of career. You can go to school and be a lawyer or a doctor or something and use your brain. And Brett's more or less, you know, agreeing with his father. So we have that whole thing. And then we have Cujo. So there's the two families. A lot of the book has to deal with the two families. And then we have Cujo. Cujo is a St. Bernard. He's, I think, 4? It talks about how he's a middle-aged dog, so he's getting in the older years, but he's not a pup anymore. And one day he's playing, and he gets scratched by a bat who's rabid, and he gets rabies. And it takes a while, but then eventually Cujo starts having the effects of the rabies, and he's starting to get more and more sick. And when you have rabies, it really cooks your brain, and you become very aggressive, and you attack people, and it's not a fun disease to have. And so Cujo's really struggling. And the cool thing about this book is that a lot of the book is in Cujo's point of view. So we get to actually like go through the motions of this dog slowly starting to get sick, and how he's not understanding, and how he's in pain, and he doesn't want to be a bad dog. He wants to be loyal and obedient and love his his owners, you know what I mean, his humans, but he can't help himself because he's slowly getting more and more sick, and it's scaring him, and he doesn't like it, and that makes me sad. This book doesn't have any, chapters, which I normally cannot stand, because then you don't know really how, like, when to stop reading. I listened to this on audio for the Stephen King 2019 read-along. So on audio it doesn't really matter. I just turn it off whenever I stop driving, right? But I gave this a 5-star. I thought it was fabulous. I know I didn't really give a review for this book because I want you to go into it and find out about the story and how it goes yourself. Just know that there's a family dynamic. There's a bit of cheating in there. There's a bit of, at one point, Joe is going to hit his wife with a belt, but she is very persuasive, and he does it, and they ended up having sex instead. So there's those things where you have to deal with marriage and what a marriage is between two different sets of people. And then we have this little monster in the closet, kind of like premonition or like ominous foreshadowing. And then we have poor Cujo, who is dying of rabies. And that's all I want to say. If you like Stephen King and you haven't read Cujo, it's very quick, very good story. The beginning's a little bit boring just because there's a lot to do with the family, and you're just like, when do we get to the Cujo part? But the Cujo part does come, and then you're just like, ugh. Like, I was freaking out because towards the end, it just seemed like no one was ever going to get there. And when I say get there, again, I'm being very vague. I don't want to say anything. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to say anything else. So, read it. It was very good. I liked it. The next book that I finished was Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shannon McGuire. These are little novellas. This is the third book in the Wayward Children series. I wanted to pick up both books because In an Absent Dream came out in January, and I wanted to read, you know, back to back both of them. But I think I'll just pick up In an Absent Dream in March, or this month. It's March now. I'm going to try and pick it up this month, but this one was excellent. I gave this one 5 stars as well. I really enjoy everything about Shannon McGuire's writing style. In the first 2 books, well, I'll just kind of give you a recap. In the first book, we learn about the Wayward Children and what they are and where they come from. There is a school that is run by Eleanor. What is her last name? I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know. There's a school run by an old lady who used to be able to go to a different world, and each world there are it could be a fairy tale world, it could be a dark, like, gothic kind of world, it could be an underworld. There's all these different, like, worlds that you can go to. There's 4 themes. There's virtue, nonsense, logic, and what's the 4th one? Virtue? Nonsense? Logic? Wickedness. Wickedness is the 4th one. So those 4 themes touch each world. And so if you went to, say, a fairyland or a fairy tale world, that might be logic and nonsense at the same time, depending on what kind of world it is. So this old woman used to be in a world, and she left it, and she can't get back, and so she runs a home for other children who have been either kicked out of their worlds or have lost their way, and they can't find their doors again. And they all live in this house. That's the first book. And we meet all of those characters. Now, in the second book, which is Down Among the Sticks and Bones, we follow 2 characters that were in the first book, their journey, what their world is, how they became characters in that world, where they found their door, and so forth and so on. So that was really cool. I really liked Down Among the Sticks and Bones because Jack and Jill are twins, and they're completely different, and when you learn about them as little kids and then they twist the way they act when they go into their world and they do different things. It's very interesting how they changed their paths in life. In this one, this is about a character that died in the first book, but it's not actually about her. It's about her world, like where she had gone to, how she was taken out of it, and like what happened now that she's dead, and like the repercussions of her death in the human world to her fairy world. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Her fairy world is called Confection, and so it's a candy land, and everybody is has a candy heart, and the entire world's made of candy. You can eat everything. And I loved it. It was so whimsical, and I love it. And I loved the fact that a lot of the kids from the first book are trying to help the dead girl's world. Like, they're trying to fix it because it's crumbling. And I loved that it's setting up for the next book. And I also like the fact that at the end of books 1 and 2, is it 1 and 2? I don't know if something happened in 2. Maybe it was just 1 and 3. But one of our characters in the first book finds their door, and then in this one of the characters in the book finds their door. So you have these little happy endings at the same time. I love fairy tales, not queens and kings and princesses and political stuff and wars and everything between two different kingdoms. I hate that kind of stuff. But fairy tales with characters and creatures like this, I absolutely love. And I cannot wait to get to the 4th book. Like I said, 5 stars. Then we have The Big Over Easy. This is by Jasper Fforde. I read this to my kids. That's what I wanted to say. I read this to my kids. This is the first book in the nursery crime series or trilogy. I thought there was something underneath the dust jacket and I was going to share it with you, but there's not. So we have here Humpty Dumpty. Jack Sprat is the detective of the DCI, the CDI, Crime Division Investigations. So he's the head of the CDI. And in this one, Humpty Dumpty is murdered. He was sitting on his wall and someone killed him. They don't know if it was suicide, like he fell off the wall, or if someone pushed him, or what have you. But Jack Sprat needs to figure it out. There's a lot of, like, like, their division is split. So we have the CDI that does only nursery rhyme cases, and then we have the real police that does everything else. And in this world, whenever you solve a crime, it's written in the Amazing Crime Stories magazine. And if you get a lot of readers, then you are super popular. So a lot of the times, the police don't really care about actually solving the case. They want to get it done as quick as possible with as an elaborate scheme as possible to get better readers and more views on their in their magazine. It's almost modern, because like right now we do everything for view count and likes and with the whole social media thing. So this is kind of like social media, but back in the day. I really enjoy this. My kids really liked it. Friedland Chimes is the bad guy, and he's the one who is the most popular in the Amazing Crime Stories. He works for the Guild, which is the top police people who have all of their cases and stories written in Amazing Crimes. And that's your goal. Not to prosecute and find out who the killers are truly and really put the bad guys away, but to create this outrageous case where you close it and then it's written about, like legend. Yeah, so Jack Sprat hates that. His partner's Mary Mary. I haven't found out if it's Mary Mary Quite Contrary, which Mary she is. I'm thinking she is also a nursery rhyme character, but we haven't reached that yet. Also in this story, there is Ashley, and he is a alien, which I find fascinating. Yeah, so everything about this was fun to read. I absolutely loved it, and I'm currently reading the second one. And it's funny, in the second one, which I'll talk about at the end of this month, maybe, if we can finish it. Otherwise, of course, when we do finish it, I'll talk about it. But in the second book, it says that Jack Sprat has his story written, and in the second book he doesn't know if his story will continue. And I had like a flashback to when I read about it on Goodreads. So we have book 1. I'm currently reading The Fourth Bear, which is book 2. There is no book 3. It says it's coming, but it hasn't been written. And these books came out a while ago. This one came out in 2005. Oh, here's an illustration. Look at, there's Humpty and there's Sprat. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, so there's no third book. I want Jasper Fforde to write a third book and conclude the story. I gave this one 4 stars. I really, really enjoy this kind of book. If you know any other like detective stories that have to do with something whimsical like this, let me know down below. Alright, then I got nervous because the month was almost over, and so I started reading a whole bunch of graphic novels to kind of up my reading count for my Goodreads, because I'm a cheater. So we have Giant Days Volume 8. I absolutely love these graphic novels. I gave them 5 stars, pretty much every single one of them. I love their shenanigans. I love that they are just always into mischief. So we have Susan, Esther, and Daisy, and they're all roommates. They are all going to college, and this is in the UK. They've just finished their sophomore year of college, and it's becoming the summertime, so they're going to be looking for new housing. But in the meantime, they are dealing with school and relationship problems, which is super funny. Daisy is in a lesbian relationship. Ingrid is her girlfriend. I think she's from Russia. They don't get along very well. I mean, they do, but then they don't, and that might be because of the roommates. But basically, Daisy is a do-gooder slash people pleaser slash clean freak, and Ingrid is all about doing things that are fun and spontaneous, and she literally just ruins their house. Like, she leaves a straightener on and it practically burns down the house. Or she runs up the heater because she's cold instead of wearing a jacket, and the heating bill is outrageously expensive. And she's asking Daisy to move in with her, and Daisy's on the fence. She's like, well, I don't really like your lifestyle, like your living lifestyle, or your friends, but I like you, and I don't know how to deal with this. Then we have Esther, who is our goth queen. She's never in a relationship because she likes flirting too much. And she's a little selfish. And then we have Susan, who only has eyes for McGraw. And that is her. I don't think they went out when they were in high school, but they used to live near each other, like in the same town. And they have an on and off relationship throughout the entire series. But I'm trying to find a good one. I love McGraw. Oh my God, look right here. Look at that mustache. He is amazing. I absolutely love his face. Yeah, so they have to deal with all these relationship things and housing things and school things, and I could read every single one of these a million times, and I would like it to go on forever. This is a series that I never want to stop. Is that weird? I don't know. I really, really enjoy Giant Days. Then I picked up Trick Ness's And the Ocean Was Our Sky, illustrated by Rovina Kai. Now, January I read The Agony House, and both The Agony House by Cherie Priest and this book by Patrick Ness. They both came out in the same month, and they were both on my most anticipated reads. I can't remember if it was in November or December that they came out, but I thought they were going to be graphic novels because they are illustrated. I already reviewed Agony House in my last month's wrap-up, and I will leave a link to that down below if you're interested in it. But basically, it's a book, a regular YA ghosty novel with comic book panels and pages spliced into the story. So it's not like it is a graphic novel. It just has graphic novel elements within the story. This is the same thing, but this is more or less kind of like, you know, the invention of Hubert Cabret. So you have pages here. Well, not that one. Well, here, let me show you all these pages. We have pages. Oh, here we go. This is a good example. So we have, okay, we have the regular novel. Yes, yes. And then we have pages of what just happened to kind of illustrate what's going on. So it's not full graphic novel panels, but just colored illustrated pages to go along with the story. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I'm on the fence with Patrick Ness because this is my first time reading this author. I don't know how I feel about his writing or writing style because this is quite short and it was very specific and unique in story itself. So I definitely want to pick up more of his stuff to see if I like a more contemporary written story. This is about whales and humans and how they've been fighting for centuries. We all know about the whaling problems that happened, you know, when they used to use whales' blubber to use as fuel. But we also have books like Moby Dick, who would search whales just to kill them, or they have like some kind of revenge against this certain whale. So basically we have sailors killing off massive amounts of whales, pods. And then in this story, we have whales that have been adapted into hunters as well to kind of get back at the humans. So it's very strange. It's very strange. The whales have harpoons attached to their sides. I don't know what they're using. I guess it's rope. They have salvaged wood and other debris from sunken ships to create their ships and weapons. They do have a ship that's underneath the ocean that holds cargo and supplies that they use on their hunts. There is a captain, and then they have their three. They're not assistants. What are they? They're not in training. What is it called? Apprentices. That's what it's called. So our main character, her name is Bathsheba. This whole hunting party is made up of all females. The captain is Alexandra, and she is the fiercest whale captain in all of Whale Land. And so she's on the hunt for this one particular human, and I can't remember his name, Toby Wick. Now, he is a myth and a legend among people and whales, but she lost her own captain and her entire fleet to Toby Wick many, many years ago. And so as she went up in rank, until now that she's captain, that's all she's ever thought about was revenge about killing Toby Wick and how he was this monster, the devil. He's the devil of the sea, and she wants to destroy him. And so that is her mission. Now, Bathsheba lost her mom to human hunters, and so she has joined the ranks to be a hunter as well because she wants revenge for her mom. So we just go through the book, watching this whale fleet searching for Toby Wick. They have a human prisoner who is also kind of like bait for Toby Wick. He placed him in this this ship where everyone else was dead, so that way he could give a message to Captain Alexandra, and kind of like bait her to go to a certain location so that Toby Wick can then spring and attack. And yeah, that's basically the whole story. Like, there's a final battle at the end with Toby Wick and the Captain Alexandra, and then you find out what happens, but there's no like happy ending. Not really. There's like, what happens now? It's weird because the whales, they think all humans are hunters. They don't know anything about land because of course they can't go onto land, so they don't know that there are other humans that live on land and do other jobs besides whaling. And then I don't know why the human hunters want to kill the whales. That's why I gave it 3.5 stars. It was weird. I liked the illustrations, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a unique story, but it doesn't affect me at all. Like, I didn't have any like emotional ties to any of the characters, and so it was just a read. It did its purpose. I read it and then it was over. So there's that. Let me know down below if you've read it and what you thought of it. Next, I have Giraffes on Horseback Salad, starring the Marx Brothers. Screenplay by Salvador Dali. And this is written by Josh Frank, who had the script adapted with Tim Heidecker. And then the illustrations are from an Italian called Manuela Pertiga. I would definitely check her out. She does have an Instagram. I will leave the Instagram down below. Her stuff is amazing. And I gave this 4 stars. Oops. I gave this graphic novel 4 stars. It's very strange. Quark sent this to me. I don't remember whether or not I requested it in one of those huge lists that they said, oh, all these books are coming out this year, choose the ones that you want and we'll send it to you. Or if I was sent this unsolicited, but I think it was the former. So I think I requested this, but I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that I liked the pictures on the front cover. The spine is purple giraffe print. I die. So this is kind of a nonfiction in a way. At the beginning of the book, Josh goes, look at the way it's just written. I just absolutely love it. So Josh goes into, well, there's the program or the table of contents. He goes through all of the history of how the Marx Brothers and Salvador Dali got together. Salvador Dali is insane, genius, but insane. And he came up with this idea of writing a script that was absurd and starring the Marx Brothers because he liked their work back in the 30s. And so he and Harper Marx went to MGM to pitch their script. And they said no. So here is Harper Marx. And he has this harp, okay? And the harp is covered in spoons. Is it just spoons? I think it's just spoons. Just so random. And here's Salvador Dali drawing Harper with the harp and all of the spoons. It's ridiculous. Oh, wait. No, there's no spoons on this one. He's drawing him, and then he added spoons later. But Salvador sent this spoon harp to Harper, and Harper loved it. The wife was all like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So here we have the two waiting in the lobby to talk to MGM about their script. Now, MGM, I'm not very good at movie words, but I think it was the producer, maybe the producer, I can't remember. But the Marx Brothers used to pitch to this one special guy all their ideas, and he liked the strange and unusual, and so he would get MGM to make those movies. But then he died or retired or something, and so the new guy that came in was like, oh, no, I hate this stuff. I absolutely hate weird things. There's no way I'm going to allow this to happen. And so we just have this weird thing. So because the script was never made and Salvador Dali went back to France and the Marx Brothers went back to doing what they were doing, so the script never got made and it kind of like disappeared in history. And so Josh Frank decided that he really, really liked them, and he was gonna go and make this whole thing. He was gonna bring back this script because he grew up on the Marx Brothers and really liking them. Here he is, Josh Frank, as a little kid dressed as Harpo. I love it. Like, why would you be that for Halloween? And this is in 1987, so the Marx Brothers aren't even popular anymore. When I was in the 80s, when I was growing up, it was the Three Stooges, but the Three Stooges came out in the 50s and the Marx Brothers came out in the 30s. But they still had reruns of the Three Stooges. I never saw reruns on, you know, late night TV, like Nick at Night or whatever, with the Marx Brothers. So otherwise, I may have liked them too, because I do like Monty Python and other weird films like that, like Airplane or Naked Gun, things like that. So we have all of that history. And then it goes into Josh Frank's thoughts on what would have happened if this script had been written and turned into a movie. And let me get to that part, because there's, Stewart says opening credits, roll. All of this stuff is nonfiction. And then we get into Giraffes on Horseback Salad. This is the first page of the new reimagined script, and it's all like film by Marx Brothers, scenario and setting by Salvador Dali, adapted by Josh Frank with Tim, illustrated. So it's got all of that stuff. And then it goes in, and I like that it is kind of like a script. So we have our act, which is chapter, main man from Spain, and then it tells you the exterior or interior of what's going on each page. Now, if you can see this, and this might be a little bit long of a review, and I do apologize. I just really, really enjoyed the way this book was set up. All of the pages are in this, like, it's not even sepia. I think that's how you say it. Instead of more brown, it's more of like an olive green. But all of the pages are in this like olive green, drabby color scheme, like the paneling. But then you get to the part where the woman comes in, and she is the surrealist, and then things start getting really bright. So we have pops of green, and then there's more. So she's at the party now, and there's all this vivid color. I absolutely adore everything about this book. The story itself is kind of mediocre, but I love the illustrations so much. Please check her out. She's amazing. Yeah, but there's just, look at this, all these books. I like that one. So basically, what the story is we have this man who is in business, and he's very, very imaginative, but he doesn't really use his creativity for his job. And then he has this woman who is his fiancée, and she's a little loose. She wants her cake and eat it too. So she doesn't want her fiancé, which is the man, to leave her. She wants him, but she also wants to have a side piece. And they're supposed to be getting married soon, but she's like kind of having this little fling with her assistant. And the business guy kind of knows, but not really. And then he falls in love with the surrealist. And if I can find her quickly, I will show you what she looks like, because she's weird. Here we go. There's the surrealist woman. And the man's just like, oh my gosh, I love you. I love you. I will do anything for you. So the surrealist woman can create anything with her mind. Happy, things are more and more absurd. If she's sad, then it's also absurd, but it goes bad. I don't know if that makes any sense. So basically the guy really, really loves this woman, and the fiance is very ticked off that he's trying to leave her for this very whimsical, imaginary, creative creature. And she's trying to get back at him, and so she's trying to destroy creativity. I'm sure there's a lot of symbolism involved in this book, and I wrote a pretty lengthy review on this on Goodreads, so check that out, because I can't remember what I said at the moment, but I do know that I really delved into the symbolism of this book and why I thought certain things were happening. Really, really enjoyed. Thank you so much to Quirk for sending this to me. I really liked it. This book comes out on March 19th, which is my birthday. So yeah, soon you guys can have it too, if you're interested. I really liked it. And the very last book that I read or looked at in February was The Atlas of Beauty by Mihaela Norok. This is 500 portraits of women. Now I'm going to get my phone really quickly because I want to kind of go through what, I'm not going to hold that book is too heavy for me to hold. But I'm kind of going to go through all of the pictures that I looked at, because this, maybe I'll show you a little bit of it. This book is just pictures, photography. It's a photography book of different women in different countries, and sometimes it'll have like little, you can't see because of the glare, it has little commentary on like who these people are, what they did, why they are so important, so forth. So here, I'll stand here and I'll show the pictures here because I want to share the pictures with you, and then hopefully you guys can also check this book out. But the first one I want to share is this girl here, and her eyes are mesmerizing. People from Afghanistan and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Turkey, they all have these amazing green, blue, amber eyes, and they're all like mixed up. They're all like hazily green, blue, amber. They're beautiful. And they have like the dark skin, so everything pops out. She's gorgeous. But she is in a remote place. I took pictures of everything so I could kind of like go through it with you guys. But she has to deal with violent conflicts, and she works really hard to stay away from all of that stuff. It's very hard for a woman in these countries to do day-to-day life, because they have to think about not only the violent wars that are around them, but, you know, also being assaulted by other men, or not being able to eat because they're poor. It's just like, it's so difficult. This one is a girl from Kyrgyzstan? I'll leave the name down here. But I really enjoy, I think she's beautiful, but I really liked the hat and the embellishments on it. I love traditional clothing, because it just, not only does it show the culture, but it also shows skill and the fact that they still work on this today. So they're constantly sharing their tradition and their culture and within their fabrics to generations, you know, so that can keep going. It's sad when you think about cultures and how they're slowly starting to lose themselves because the newer generations don't have any, they don't want to be a part of that. They don't want to learn those embroidery skills, or they don't want to learn what happened in the past. And so you start to lose the past, and then you lose the culture, and it's just really sad. You want that to stay vibrant. Now this picture here is just sweet. I like the fact that these are all sisters. They're all from Naples, Italy, and I really liked their smiles. It made me smile. They just seem like very happy people. And then we have this beautiful black woman from New York. I think, I mean, her her outfit is banging. She's got like this leather crinkled jacket with this like furry kind of material shirt underneath, and we've got this like metallic brown like leather pants. Like, she's so cool looking, and you can tell like in this picture, I don't know if the photographer said, hey, pose, or if she just kind of sat down. It was just so cool. But she just breathes coolness, and I wish I was as cool as this girl here. Next we have this old, I don't want to say old woman, but she's old. I'm getting old too, but she's an elderly woman. But look how vibrant she is. The smile, her skin, it's clear and gorgeous. She's got that color. She's from Switzerland, 83. Look at her. Look how amazing she is at 83. And she still works. Like, she's vibrant, and I love her scarf. And just working still is just wonderful. And then this was a full panel spread in the book. We have four Mexican firefighters. For some reason, I've never seen a woman firefighter in the United States. Not on TV, not in movies. We have a fire station just up the street. I don't see any women walking around cleaning the fire truck or walking around, you know. But in Mexico, in all these different countries, women hold man jobs. And in the United States, I don't see that happening. I think it's really cool. We do have women, you know, police officers and military, but it's not as prominent, I guess. I don't know. I really liked the fact that these Mexican women are just like, they look amazing and they fight fires. I think that's great. Okay, next we have this girl in a boat. She's just really pretty. She's from Nepal. And then we have this beautiful family, a mom and her two daughters. And they're from Guatemala. Look at their clothes. Look how colorful and vibrant, and it's all embroidered. She's taught her two daughters how to do this skill, and they've embroidered their own clothes with the floral pattern. It's just gorgeous. I absolutely love it. They all, I just love it. I wish I had learned a skill from my family. And I've told you guys before, my ethnicity is German, Hawaiian, and Filipino, and I haven't learned any real skills from any of those cultures, which is, you know, it's sad. I want to learn stuff too. Then we have this gorgeous woman. She's also from Nepal. I love her eyes the most. Like, she's got these beautiful like eyes, and the lips are just gorgeous. The color makes it pretty too, because it's kind of like makeup, but her eyes are so striking. I'm obsessed with monolids or half monolids. I'm pretty sure it's because I grew up in Hawaii and we have a lot of Asians that live there, and so I always liked that look. You know, everyone has their own taste. Some people like the surfer look, or some people like a mountain man with a scruffy beard, and some people like, you know, clean cut and very masculine, but also put together. And I like Asians a lot. That's why I married a Chinese guy. But yeah, she's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And then we have her, and I've shown this picture. She's from China, and she's just, in the story it says that when the photographer came and met her, she was just, you know, randomly cleaning her house, and she was shocked that she had all of her jewelry on. And that's something that they do in that part of the world. This is Sichuan province. The women are very happy with the way they look, and they put all their jewelry on even when they're cleaning. And I thought, heck yeah, I've done that before, where I wore 8-inch heels just to cook dinner. I mean, where else am I going to wear these heels? You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to look pretty, and that is the best way to do it. And then we have her. So pretty. I love the beadwork. But she's from Ethiopia. And I just watched this thing on on YouTube because it coincides with my son. I took him to the dentist, my youngest one, a few weeks ago, and the dentist was talking about how his palate in the top of his mouth, the roof of his mouth, is very narrow, which pushes his teeth forward because the tongue placement isn't properly aligned, and because he doesn't know how to put his tongue there, it's not pushing the roof. Yeah. I went on to YouTube and I was looking up this kinds of stuff, and they were talking about how like indigenous people in the Amazon and Ethiopia, like people in different parts of Africa, they have perfect white teeth. There's no crowding of the teeth, and you can see it in her too. Like, she's got these perfect white teeth, and they don't really brush. It's not like they have regular dentists over there, but because they know where to place their tongue and they have to do a lot of chewing, their teeth don't get crowded, and so there's no, like, it's not all messed up. So that reminded me. I'm sure you've seen a commercial where they keep talking about things that remind other people of other things, and it goes on and on and on. I'm on a tangent, excuse me. But she's from Ethiopia. And then now we have this woman here who's from Afghanistan. Look at her clothes. Look at how she is working on that loom. She's like weaving something, sewing something. This is her hut. It's just mud floor, but she's gorgeous. And she's in that sunlight. I love it. This is going to take ages. I'm going to go quicker. I apologize. We have this girl from China. She's pregnant. She looks like she's going to start breakdancing. I think it's great. And then we have another girl from Ethiopia. Beautiful. Love the beads. Look at her eyes. She looks so pretty and happy, and like I don't know. I like smiley people. Then the next girl is from Russia. I love her freckles. I'm obsessed with freckles. I don't really have good freckles. And then this girl, she's got even more freckles. I love her freckles. She is from France. And then we have this woman. Oh my gosh. She's from the Netherlands. Look at those tattoos. She is on fire. I can't stand it. Her name's Amanda. She sells accessories 6 days a week. She's great. Look at those tats. And then this girl, oh, freaking gorgeous. She's from Iran. Look at the color. Like, her eyes are beautiful. It matches like her outfit. I can't stand it. It's just so pretty. Everything is so pretty. I love the floral, the patterns, the background. Such a nice picture. Gorgeous. And then we have another woman. This one's from Cuba. She's a teacher. Well, I'm a teacher, so I love seeing happy women teachers because it's stressful. You don't want to see angry, tired teachers. So this is nice. And she's teaching kids in Cuba. I forgot how many pictures I have. So we're just going to go through them. You're going to just see pretty women, what they do. I'm just going to say where they're from, and that's it. We have this woman. She's from Germany. We have this woman. She's from France. She was adopted. She came from Russia. Her mom didn't want her because she was born with only one leg and a stump. And now she's bomb ass. Look at her new leg. Wonderful. Then we have this woman here. I don't remember where she's from. I didn't take a picture of where she's from. Then this woman who is from Uzbekistan, Bukhara. I don't know where any of these places are. I took lots of geography classes, and the last one I took in college, I found out there's so many teeny tiny stands, like all these little stands that are above like Saudi Arabia and Iran and Afghanistan. All of the stands are all in like the same vicinity. They're all in the Middle East. But I can't pronounce any of the names. I sound stupid. Then we have this girl here. She's from Peru. Look at her gorgeous dress and her hat. They all match. Love the embroidery. This woman here is from Jordan. She teaches self-defense in Jordan. I think that's so badass. She's gotten death threats, and she still goes to work every day and teaches it. It's crazy. Love it. Then we have this woman. She's in Iraq, and she works in the Kurdish army, military. She joined the guerrilla fighters when she was 13 to save her village in Turkey. This woman here is from China. She's a rickshaw driver. I didn't even know. I'm sure there's taxi drivers that are women, but I didn't. The things that I don't know, because I stay in my small bubble in life. I don't venture out into anything. So I was like, wow, look how freaking stylish she is, and she just drives a rickshaw. I think that's so cool. This woman, she lives in Mexico, and she's a pilot for the police. These two girls are sisters. They are gorgeous. Look at that hair. Absolutely love it. They're from Switzerland. This woman is from Jordan. They live in a place where everybody was raised and birthed in these rocky hills. Like there's a whole city in these hills behind her. She doesn't live there, and she wasn't born there, but some of her sisters were. I think that's cool. Her dress makes her look like a, well, you can't really tell because I kind of cut off the picture, but the skirt goes so far down it looks like she's a mermaid. And then we have this beautiful woman. This is from Panama. Look at her dress. This is her traditional dress of the called Polaris, and they wear it during festivals. Really pretty. We have this woman. She's from Azerbaijan. I can't say that word. I'll write it here. Azerbaijan. Baku, Azerbaijan? I don't know. She's pretty. Then we have this elderly lady who lives in India. It's her 100th birthday. She doesn't look 100. I don't know what 100 looks like, I guess. She's pretty. I like it. Then we have this gorgeous redhead with freckles and tattoos. Yes, she's from Berlin, Germany. Then we have this woman, again, more tats. She's from Turkey. She's really pretty. This whole book is beautiful women, but you know, I'll continue. This one, look at her shirt. She's from Guatemala as well. That takes time, you know. Embroidery, you do that by hand. That's not machine. That's so nice. This woman lives in Italy. Makes horns, like little ceramic horns, and then her sister sells them. Is it ceramic? I don't think it's food. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see all the paint and other stuff on her. But she makes these little horns that go with her tradition. They're called cornicelli, which means good luck. It's like a good luck charm, and her sister sells them in the store. This beautiful woman, she lives in Brazil. She looks like she's a bartender in Brazil. She looks like she has stories, and she looks super happy too. More freckles. This woman, again, the embroidery, gorgeous. This one is from Peru. This chick, lets you know that you don't need hair and you can super fierce. She reminds me of the girl from Fifth Element that is playing an alien, and she's like running away in that see-through green plastic skirt, and she's got like a dragon tattoo on her head. She's amazing. This girl looks just like, well, not just like her, but she reminded me of her. She's from Italy. Love the tats, love the piercings. She's so pretty. This woman here, this is also from New York, this Japanese woman. Her name is Mariko. She's an actress. Beautiful. Then we have more police, more military. This is from Uruguay and India. Yeah, those are all the pictures. I took, there's tons. There's 500 pictures in here. I think I shared maybe 25 with you guys. I just wanted to give you kind of a glimpse of some of the pictures that are in here and see if you wanted to, you know, check it out. I really liked all of the stories. It just reminds me how other women live in other cultures and how they're strong, and even though they're refugees or there's violence or there's wars going on, they are still strong women who try really hard every day to make their world better, to make their family's worlds better. And yeah, everybody has their own view of beauty. I know mine is some parts aesthetic. You know, I of course love eyes and mouths and freckles and piercings and tattoos. I think all of that is beautiful, but also a smile is beautiful. Like, how do you convey yourself to the world? Yeah, that's beautiful. Anyways, that was the last book that I read in the month of February. That is my wrap up. I read 7 books, read, looked at, what have you. I did go through 7 reading materials in the month of February. Let me know down below which books you have read that I read, or what books you read in February, if I should pick anything up. Do you know any graphic novels that are kind of like Giant Days that you think I would like? Do you know any other detective stories that use either nursery characters or fairy tale creatures that I would really enjoy? And fairy tales themselves. Is there any other books that are like this, that just have a fairy tale element that you think that I would enjoy? No kings and queens, because I like fantasy, but I don't want to read epic, high, political. I just want whimsical, fun, girly fantasy. Maybe that's what I want. I want girly fantasy. Or kid fantasy, because girly would consider be princess, and I don't like princesses either. And these aren't romantic, you know what I mean? There's no romance in any of these. It's just fun, Candyland. I went to Old Mother Hubbard kinds of stories, and I really like that. I need to stop talking. I forgot to mention the books that I started but didn't finish in February. I did start The Diving Pool by Yoko Ogawa. I only got a few pages in, and then I put it down, not because it wasn't interesting, but because I decided to pick this up way too late at night, and I got super sleepy after like 3 pages. So I did put this down, but I do want to continue this in March. I also had a buddy read, A Noise Downstairs by Linwood Barclay. I got pretty far. I'm on chapter 33, which is 181 pages in, but as you can see, I still have like a half to go. My buddy, the one I was buddy reading with, already finished the book. She really liked it. I am really enjoying this book, but I had to put it down because I realized that I was running out of time, and that's when I started picking up all those graphic novels. Sorry, Beth. I promise I will finish this month and let you know what I thought of it. Basically, what happens in this story is a man is driving home from an event or work or whatever, and he's going home, and he sees a familiar car in front of him, and the car is going slowish, and he's like, oh, I wonder what this person's doing. It's a colleague of his, so he really recognizes the car itself, and so he follows him, and he's kind of like swerving or stopping, and he's like, oh, I wonder if he's drunk maybe, or if he needs help, and so he just continues to follow him. And then the car in front pulls over, goes to this like abandoned warehouse, and then dumps something in the dumpster, and then turns around and heads back towards the freeway. So our main character is like, well, that was weird. I wonder what he dumped in there. But he doesn't want to go and look. He wants to find out if his colleague still needs help. So he keeps following him. And then the man pulls off the road. And so our main character pulls off the road as well, and he confronts the guy. He's like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? And he sees something in the back of his car, and he like says, show me what's in the back of your car. And the guy's like, okay. And there's 2 dead bodies in the back of his car. And he's like, what is going on? Why are these women dead in the back of your car? And he looks up, and his friend goes, I'm really sorry about this, and hits him in the head with a shovel. 8 months later, our main character is, we don't know. We don't know if it's brain damage. We don't know if it's like PTSD. We don't know if he's got ghosts in his house. We don't know if it's an outside source that's causing him stress. But his wife brings home this typewriter, and he starts hearing typing at night. and he doesn't know why it's typing. He doesn't know if he can't remember physically typing notes onto the typewriter, or if it's ghosts trying to get a message to him, or if there's an outside person who is breaking into his house and typing things onto his typewriter. But he really wants to get to the bottom of it. It's a very fascinating thriller mystery. I've never read anything like this, and so I'm definitely wanting to finish it. It's very interesting. His psychologist has a patient that's very, very naughty, and he may or may not be causing the stress. So I can't wait to find out what happens next. Then I know you guys were wondering, hey, Missy, you talked about how you needed to read the Da Vinci Code. So yeah, I know you're wondering whether or not I picked it up. And I did. I read a little bit. I'm on page 54. I got to chapter 10, but I didn't finish, and I have to finish in March. I picked this up right after I started reading Giraffes on Horseback Salad, and so I picked this up because I was like, oh, okay, well, that's absurd. I want to have some kind of, like, modern thing to read. But then I put this down for the buddy read, and then I just never picked it back up. So I gotta pick it back up. And then these are the two books that I'm currently reading to my children. We have The Fourth Bear. I talked about this already when I was reviewing Over Easy, Big Over Easy. This is book 2 in the Jack Sprat investigation crime series. And I'm also reading The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern, but written by William Goldman. This is weird, and I will talk about it more when I review it. But it's so, like, I'm kind of, I don't understand what's going on. Like, look, it's so pretty. So basically, William Goldman said that his dad read this story to him when he was little. And this story is written by S. Morgenstern. And he said that with his original book from his father, who, it was written in the book is from Florin. It's written, but I can't remember if it's Florinish or Floridian, not Floridian, but Florian. I don't know how to say it. Regardless, he said the original was super, super boring. Like when he, as an adult, when he finally read the original, there was a lot of detailed things that he wasn't interested in, and his dad would skip that whenever he was reading to him. So I don't know if William Goldman actually had this book when he was little, and his dad used to read it to him all the time, and then he rewrote it in his own style, like he took the book and made it easier to read for everyone else, or if it's a story plot, but if he's part of the story and this is all make-believe. I don't know, but I'm so gullible. I don't know. Right now, though, we are at the cliffs of insanity, and Wesley, the character Wesley, is climbing the cliffs, and Inigo is waiting for him. So right now we're learning about Inigo and how his father died and who killed him and how the swords were made and so forth. Very exciting. I am loving both of these, and my children definitely like the fact that I read to them every night. And yeah, I can't wait to continue tonight. That's my goal. All right, those are all the books. All of the books. I didn't pick up anything else in February. I didn't start anything else. I would like to finish these in March if I can. That would be great. Okay, there you go. Anyways, it's so great to see you guys again. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. I will try to get this up tonight and have it up for you guys for tomorrow. There is no vlog this weekend because I am not doing anything fun or special. Yeah. All right, that's it. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.